Welcome back to Hobby Universe Outdoors. I'm Len, and today I'm going to be working on this Cub Cadet 27-ton log splitter. Last weekend I was just splitting some firewood when all of a sudden it just completely stopped. Now the engine was running fine, that didn't stall out or anything, but the hydraulics quit working. That anvil was no longer going forward driving through the log. So initially I thought, well, maybe I'm just out of hydraulic fluid or really low. So I did check that, and it was a little low, but it wasn't low enough to cause the thing not to work. I did top it off just in case, just to confirm, and sure enough, I added the fluid, still nothing. So I had to do some digging around, and underneath the motor, where the shaft comes out of the motor, is it's called a Lovejoy coupling, and beneath that is actually the hydraulic pump. So the motor spins, it spins the pump, and that creates your hydraulic pressure. Well, that Lovejoy coupling came apart, and that's what I'm going to be working on today. It's not a catastrophic failure. I don't expect it to take very long at all, but I did want to show you my process for replacing that coupling or getting it back to where it's going to operate again. So that's what we're going to work on today. So to get at that Lovejoy coupling, there's a couple ways I could go about it. One would be to crawl around on the ground and then get access to it that way. I don't feel like doing that. I don't want to crawl around on the ground if I don't have to. The second way would be to remove the motor. Now there's only going to be 3 bolts holding the motor on, and the gas tank and everything else is attached to the motor. So once I take those 3 bolts out, that whole motor and everything else is going to come right off. Then I'll have much better access to that Lovejoy coupling, and it should make my life a little bit easier. So to give you a better idea of what it is I'm talking about, underneath the motor, you've got the hydraulic pump, and then you also have this, which is the Lovejoy coupling, and that's where I'm having problems. I believe the bottom half of the coupling slid down. I can see quite a bit of shaft in there. So maybe that set screw came loose, something like that. But anyway, that's what we're going to be working on. It's going to be a heck of a lot easier if I remove the motor first. There's only 3 bolts, so that's what we're going to get started on now. The 3 bolts I've got to get access to shouldn't be too bad. I've got one on this side, one out front, and then one around the back. I'm going to save the easy one for last. That way, if I'm fighting with any of them, I won't have to worry about the motor moving once I get any troublemakers loose. And lastly, the final one. And that's number 3. With any luck, the motor will just lift right off. Before I get too far into it, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of some of this crap that's underneath the motor, just so I don't want to knock it down into the area where I'm trying to work. With the motor removed, now we should be able to get a much better look at the coupling. So this is the half that is on top of the pump. This is what I think may have moved, but again, I don't know for sure. I'm going to check the screw tension on this half of the coupling and the other one just to see if one of them's loose. Well, I definitely found the culprit and what had happened. So this set screw that attaches the bottom half of that Lovejoy coupling to the shaft of the pump had come loose. So I loosened it up the rest of the way. It was still engaging just a little tiny bit. So I backed it out some more, and then I was able to get under that coupling and pry up a little bit. Before I did that, coupling was much too close to that pump housing. So now I've got it up, and I've actually probably went a little bit too far, which is okay, because when I put the motor back in from the top, and the top half of that coupling comes in, with this being loose now, it should push that down to where it needs to be. Then I'll tighten that set screw all the way up, and my positioning should be good. So here's a better shot of the piece that I'm putting in there, and it's called a spider insert, and it goes into spider coupling or Lovejoy coupling, whatever you want to call it. But this is what I'm going to have to put in there, and this will provide the cushion and spacing between the 2 metal halves of that coupling. Here's a better look at the coupling. This is on the motor side, and this is the spider insert. This is what I'm going to be replacing. This one is an L075. You're going to want to make sure you get the right ones. I got these on Amazon, box of 4 of them. I think it was like $10 or something, but they're kind of rubbery. But there will be different sizes, and I think it's determined by the shaft size, but I can't say for sure. I lucked out. The one that I'm replacing was broke, but I found a piece of it, But I actually saw where it said L075 on it, so I knew what size I needed. But anyway, these things just press up into the coupling, and once you get it up in there, we'll be able to take the motor over and lower it down onto the shaft of the pump, and then hopefully everything lines up. To help improve my chances of getting those two couplings to line up, I oriented this so I just put that at 12 o'clock, and then I'll make sure on the motor that the mating part of the coupling is also in the correct position to interact with that one. Hopefully we just set the motor right back down on there where it goes. There. I haven't put the motor bolts back in yet. Before I do that, I want to make sure that the coupling is where I want it to be. Yeah, and I think we're in good shape. So that's, you can see one of the feet of that spider insert. That's right there in the coupling. I like the spacing I've got there. So the only thing I need to do now is rotate the shaft enough where I can get at that set screw, tighten that down, and we should be back in business. I popped the motor back off to make it a little bit easier to get this bottom coupling tight. Just makes access a lot easier. Kind of see what I'm doing. There. Now we're ready to put the motor back on. Get these motor bolts reinstalled. They're all the same length. I made sure of that. There we go. One more. Last one. Tight. Now for the moment of truth. I open the door a little bit so I don't get caught up in all the fumes. The test was a success. I've got this thing fixed. I'm pretty happy about that. It really wasn't that difficult of a job. I was hoping it would be straightforward, and it surely was. Pretty excited to go out, finish splitting that pile of logs I've got. And, you know, I don't burn wood for heat. I just, we have campfires every once in a while. It's nice just to sit around. But I really enjoy doing things like splitting wood or some of these other outdoor tasks you'll see me do from time to time. And one of the main reasons is I spend a lot of my time behind a computer. My day job requires that almost exclusively. So when I can get out and I can split some wood, or I can fix a piece of equipment like this, and even mowing the grass or raking leaves, I really enjoy some hard manual labor from time to time. If you want to call that hard manual labor, I guess it would depend who you ask, right? For me, you know, lifting the logs up and getting them up there takes a little bit of work. And I enjoy that. I like at the end of the day feeling tired, and you know, I can feel it in my muscles. Maybe my back's a little bit sore. And there's just something about doing what I consider to be a little bit of hard work that is very satisfying. So I enjoy that. I'm excited. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to split some more logs. I appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you enjoy nonsense like this and you got a kick out of the video, or maybe you learned something, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed it, also hit the like button. Thanks again for watching. Be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day.